Okay, hello everyone, my name is Basilisk, and welcome to a different kind of video than what I normally do. Now, as opposed to a Let's Play or a vlog or anything like that, a couple people have asked me how to go about making Let's Play, and I've decided that it was time to do a video regarding the topic. I'd actually kind of resisted because I'm not the best in the world, but, well, I told a friend I'd make it. So, anyways. Now, this isn't going to be how to get your channel to 1,000 subscribers or anything like that. I've got less than 30 myself, so if that's what you're looking for, sorry, I'm the wrong person to ask. I also don't know how to record from a home console. I'm working on that, but it's going to be a while. Now then, there's a couple things to get recording from a computer. First, you need a computer capable of playing a game. Not a hard subject, or not a hard thing to get, because most computers these days can at least run most Steam games and a lot of basic emulators. You'd be surprised. Now, you also want a pair of headphones and a microphone. I personally use a headset that I picked up at Kmart for $15, so you don't need a super good headset or mic. But you do want one that will pick up your audio clearly, and a wind guard is always helpful. You also want to be able to make sure you're not eating the dang thing. So, to start with, you also want recording software. I personally use Fraps. Now, really quick, before you start, once you've got all that, before you start, you want to go in here and edit your Fraps settings. You'll want to make sure your benchmark and whatever. You can turn on an overlay that puts that thing in the top left corner or wherever you want it. I personally hide my overlay. Now, when you hide your overlay, you'll have a thing down here at the bottom that shows your Fraps. That shows this. When it's red, it's recording. When it's yellow, it's not. Anyways, after that, you'll want to set where you put your movies and all this. This is all pretty useful. I need to turn that off. I forgot to turn off my hide mouse cursor in video, because normally I do turn that off because I don't want it, but I do want it now, so. Yeah, down here's where that red thing is on your taskbar. So, now that that's off, because I completely forgot about it like a doofus, my apologies. You also see a thing down here that says split movie every 4 gigabytes. I don't have that on ever, because that would wind up movie splitting into like 20 different parts. These things get huge. Now then, you also want screenshots if you want to do that. Anyways, now that that's Fraps. It's pretty cheap from what I understand, but let's move on. Now, of course, in order to do a Let's Play, you will need a game. Let's open Steam. As you can see, I've got plenty of Steam games here I could choose from, but for the purposes of this video, we are going to be going with, now, you'll need a game. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to go with something I've been debating about whether or not I'm going to do a Let's Play of in the future. I will do it, I'm just not sure when. So, let's start with let's do our thing of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Oh, you have read the EULA, shut the hell up. Okay. Now, we wait for the game to start. Now, normally, I would not have Windows Aero Desktop running. I would just be in the game, but I want you to be able to see all the stuff at the taskbar. Go away, BioWare Corp. I'm going to have to turn the volume in this way down, because it's kind of loud in my ears. Actually, no, now it's fine. Okay. Now, when you start recording, there's a few things you want to test for, namely, whether or not the game will lag. Well, the first and most important, and the one you have to be worried about, is whether or not the game will lag when you're playing it. So we're going to load my last save file on Ebonhawk. I haven't played this game as much as I would like, but, oh well. Now, I have to adjust my monitor really quick. Okay, as you can see, controls smooth, and there's no lag in the game. I'm also way zoomed in. I forgot about how... Whoa. Okay, that's all good. Okay, so, audio, there is no lag or anything of that nature, so that's good. Now, you also want to check... Now, the other main purpose of running this is to check whether or not the audio is going to be... Whether or not what you need change in terms of audio. Now, what that means is you don't want your voice to completely overpower the game's audio, but but you also don't want the game's audio to completely overpower your voice. You want a good balance. For me, that means for my settings, that means my voice is set a little higher than the in-game audio and sound effects, so that I can be clearly heard over when I'm in the middle of a battle or something like that. Now, of course, you want to know, how do I edit how do I edit the game's sound so that or change the game's volume? Now, there's the obvious ways of doing that. Let's go into our menu here, and you can go into sound and turn down the music volume or whatever in this menu. Now, there's another way. Excuse me while I get out of the game here. You can also go down here. Now, really quick, this is important because because this messed me up when I first started too. This default slider for your volume, messing with this doesn't actually change whether or not your voice is louder than the game or anything like that, because it picks up both the game audio and your voice at the same level regardless. So that's not going to affect anything. What you want to do is go into the mixer, and over here you'll find this. Now, turning this up or down will increase or decrease the game volume. I'm not going to fiddle with it right now because I don't need to. Okay, so I don't believe I need to anyways. Now then, the entire point of running a little test recording. Now, you will want to do a test recording here. Now that you're sure the game doesn't lag. The purpose of this is so you can hear once you're done with the recording, you can hear volume and all that. Check your settings or check your sound. Okay, now then, for the purpose of this test recording, we're going to find Mission Vao. I think it's pronounced Vao. I'm terrible with names, I apologize. And play a game of Sabacc. Now, there's a few things you want to know, and I'm going to explain them in this segment here. Stop looking at people, jeez. Okay. Right here, no, that's Candace, I don't care about him. Okay, now when you're doing a game, you want to... There you are. Hold on.
Hey there, what can I do for you?
Not too loud. Let's play oh, it's Pizak. What the hell was I getting Sabacc from?
Want to practice your skills, eh? Sure, I'll play a few hands. Just for practice, though. I don't want to bet with you.
Okay, now, when playing a game, you do want to describe mechanics. You don't have to go into great detail, like describe exactly what the hit percentage is for a particular skill or anything like that, unless it's wildly out of sync with what the game itself says. Like if you're using an attack skill and it says it's got a high hit rate, but in reality it's only got like a 20% chance, you want to mention that. Otherwise, just give a basic rundown. You know what the basic controls are and what new skills do. I'm going to use a quick example here with Pizak. Pizak is pretty simple. It's... Okay, let's look at the cards first. As you can see, we've got 3 rows of cards here, each with a number. The number is the card's value. Plus cards add to the value, minus cards subtract to the value, and cards with both plus and minus can either add or subtract. Now, you want to pick 10 cards that will go over here in your... It says side deck. It's honestly just a real deck. But, anyways, you want to pick 10 cards that go over here. Now, this game Pizak is actually pretty unbalanced, because you want... Now, Pizak is unbalanced in 2 ways. The first is that once you get 10 cards that can either subtract or add, you can basically just toss all these to the curb. You will never use these again once you have 10 of these. So, now then, let's jump into the game. Yes. Now, Pizak is blackjack. The goal is to get your points up here to 20. Now, you can end your turn, which will give them a card, or you can stand, which will just stop you wherever your point is. However, you can also play a card. Let's see here. If I were to play one of these right now, it would add 2. But if I flip a hand card here, it will subtract 2. However, this is just an 8, so we want to leave it. Now we have a 12. Now the goal is to get to 20. If you go over 20, you lose, but you do have the chance to subtract, so that's important. Works still good. Now, the other way... Yeah, we're just gonna stand. I'm not gonna even try. Now, the other way this game is pretty unbalanced is that it heavily favors the AI. Like, to ridiculous levels. You can also only play 1 card per turn. So, Alright, now here we're going to play that too and get 20. Now once you get to 20, it will automatically stand. So, also, your hand down here doesn't refill, which I think subtracts a lot of depth, and you never get minus or plus and minus cards, so it's always just pluses, which I think it means subtracts a lot of the potential depth out of this game. But yes, this game heavily favors the AI. See what I mean? Okay. And we're almost done here. Yeah, see? Unless we get a flat 20, we lose. Let's plop that down. And you can also only have 9 cards. I've never actually even had it take that long. Crap on a cracker, Batman. So we just lost horrifically. But that was Pazaak. Now, in the actual game, in an actual Let's Play recording, you would go a lot more in-depth if possible. I'm honestly not sure how much more I could add to Pazaak. It's not that complex a game. Now, you don't want to do all this right at the start. You only want to introduce new mechanics like that when they become introduced into the game. Like, for something like this, you wouldn't introduce the swoop bike races or Pazaak itself until you actually first do a swoop bike race or play Pazaak. So, you also want to keep an eye on your equipment. Now, there's a few other things that are definitely important for a game like this that I do want to cover really quick. Okay, so, let's back out of here. And you'll see we're back to the main menu, so we want to go into a new game really quick. Now, this is something I personally had trouble with back when I started Jedi Academy, and I've seen other players have a problem with it, is when you're doing a character creation, what to show and what not to show. Now then, picking your class here, this is important. At this screen you'll want to describe the pros and cons of each class. For instance, a scoundrel is very stealthy, and is good at not getting hit, but it's got low HP. It's got low HP and defense to start with. A scout is basically the balanced one. It's got average HP and defensive and offensive stats. A soldier has really high defensive and offensive stats, but they are not so good at stealth and mental tricks to start with. Now, you can customize your character later on. Now, naturally, in the actual game, I would go much more in depth, but this isn't the point of the video, so let's keep going. So, now, here, yeah. Really quick, wanted to explain what Quick and Custom characters do. Quick character basically makes a character for you, except for choosing appearance and name. Custom character lets you choose all that stuff. So we're going to jump into Custom. Now, here's where you don't show things, like Portrait. Now, everyone knows that you basically click through this until you find something you want. Ignore this. Well, okay, don't ignore it, make the character you want to, but don't show this. Unless your audience is someone like me who really gets into character creators, this is just going to annoy them. So, skip that. So, edit that out. Basically, stop your recording while you fiddle with that. Now, for character generation, this you do want to show. Raising attributes you do want to show. You want to explain what the stats do here. Strength rate, for instance, strength raises your close quarters combat, or your damage and accuracy with melee weapons. Okay. Now, dexterity adds accuracy and damage to ranged weapons and makes your character have a higher defense. Constitution raises HP, and intelligence raises the number of points you have to spend on essential skills, so on and so forth. Now, really quick, you also want to show what you spend your points on. You want to do this each time you something like this each time you level up. For the sake of expediency, we're just going to smack the recommended button and move on. Now, skills, again, you want to show here. You want to explain what each skill does and which one you point your skill points into. We're just going to plop recommended down here, and that is horrible. But we'll just roll with it. This is why I never actually use recommended, because that right there is a horrible thing. Now, feats. feats you'll start off with a bunch depending on class, but that's, yeah. Here again, you'll want to explain what each feat does. Again, you don't want to go into too much detail, you want to go over this one pretty quick. And of course, show which point you put your feats into. I'm sorry, what? Okay, whatever. Now, name, again, you don't want to spend too much time deliberating here. This is something you want to have figured out before you start the game. We're just going to go in, and then you have the play button. Now, there's not much to add. There's nothing else that we can really cover with Knights of the Old Republic, so I'm going to we're going to exit out of the game here, and move on to the next part. But really quick, I have to stop the recording. The reason I had to stop the recording is because we want to use the rest of this video, or the parts of the video that came before this, for the next segment. Okay, so this is going to get a little trippy. Let's open up our Movie Maker. This is the editing and file conversion software I use. Some people will recommend like really fancy video editing software. I've used three file converters in the past. Neither of which, the other two I used weren't as effective as Windows Movie Maker. Trust me. So, what you want to do here is you want to upload a video. Here we go. Now, here's some trippy stuff. We're editing this video while we're recording it. Now, as you can see here, we have our... Okay, hello everyone, my name's Basilisk, and welcome to a newer... Now, what you want to do is we want to skip to where the gameplay is. A little bit before. There we go. Now we want to listen to the audio in this video. And to play a game of Spot. Now, there's a few things you want to know. I'm going to explain. Well, as you can see, this is why we check for recordings. I'm not sure this would actually happen if I didn't have Windows Aero Desktop up, so I could see the whole screen, but that video quality there with the skipping, obviously we can't upload that. So that's something you'll have to check a few times. Too far. But another thing is the audio. Okay. You know that camera's not caring about him. Okay, now when you're doing a game, you want to... There you are. Hold on.
There. What can I do for you?
Not too loud. Let's play. It's got a pick 10 card. And if I play one of these right now, it would add... Right, but okay. The way this game is pretty unbalanced. Audio is not imbalanced here, as you can hear. So we're just going to ignore that. Now really quick, let's go over our editing tools in Windows Movie Maker. Here you could cut out sections of the video if you wanted to. We don't. You can also record narration. If you have to re-record over a segment, you can use this. Add in a... Yeah, you could just take a screenshot of what's going on. I've never actually used that. You can also add in regular pictures or whatever. What am I doing there? Let's say you wanted to add in this picture of the Eternal Empire. You could add that in right there. So, yeah. Or you could add in music. Let's say I wanted to throw in... let's say I wanted to throw in some... Master of Puppets. And it would do that. Okay, hello. It would also ridiculously overpower my voice, so I'm not going to add that into the final video. But for that, you can actually go in here, turn the volume way, way down. Not that far down. A different kind of video. And there you go. So if you want to, you can separately edit the volume from your Let's Play or a personal thing. You can also go into your video tools, and you'll have a separate slider here for turning up the video volume. You can also set your start and end point. Most of the time, you won't actually need to fiddle with all this unless you just going through the video and realize that there is a massive problem somewhere. So, log or anything like that. A couple people have asked me how to go about making Let's Play. Yeah, as you can see, I'm now decided that it was... Okay, as you can see, I'm now ridiculously overpowering the music I put in. This I'm actually going to use to show what I mean when... So now you see what I mean when I say you don't want to overpower things. Time to do a video regarding the topic. Have it overpower you. Now, after you got your video edited, you'll want to go in here to save movies for high definition display, which is what I always use here. And then you'll want to make sure you're saving it as an MP4, otherwise your video file is going to be huge. Now, then you hit this button and it'll start up a little pop-up, and once this starts, you basically can't do anything else with your video. This is when you break out your DS or whatever, or right. But we're going to ignore that because I'm not actually finished and I'm not going to use that. So, now then, I want to make a point here when I say the video files are huge by default. That's the first 15 minutes of this video, and they're 24.8 gigabytes. Now, that's a 15 and a half minute video. Let's pop over to Paper Mario here, and that's 25. As an MP4, it's 461 megabytes, so you definitely want to convert to MP4. Once you have all that done, you'll want to go into YouTube and hit an uploader. I don't actually have an internet connection right now, though, as you can see, so I don't have a way to show that. Let me try this really quick. Oh, and one other thing. If you're in Skype, if you've got Skype, you want to set that to, get down there, do not disturb, so that you don't get pop-ups, or so that you don't get things popping up in your video. Now, I don't think I'm going to get an internet connection here, because where I'm sitting at the moment to make this recording a lot easier is got terrible Wi-Fi access. So, and I don't think I have YouTube up. I don't. Okay, so YouTube is pretty simple to operate. There's that upload button in the top right corner, and once that gets going, you're basically ready to go. That is self-explanatory. Now then, I'm trying to let me think for a moment, make sure there's nothing else I want to cover. No, I believe that's it. Oh, one thing, actually. In order to make sure when you're playing your game, in order to keep from recording the full screen like I was just doing, you'll want to turn off Monitor Arrow Desktop right here. I'm not going to do that right now because that would turn off the recording. So, with that, I don't believe we have anything to add to this video. So, hopefully this helps all of you, I forgot the word. I hate it when this happens. Hopefully this helps all of you and aspiring young Let's Players out there get started. And if you have any questions or want to know where you can get recording software pretty easily, just send me a PM. Or an email on YouTube, a PM on Standing Trials, So, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in your upcoming videos, I hope. And if not, I'll see y'all in one of mine. Thank you, and have a good night, folks. Okay, so I had finished up this video and realized I had actually forgotten something. Of course, all the stuff I did before, what I was talking about before, you want that to be finished before you start recording your first episode. But there's one other thing you want done before you record your first episode, and that's you want all your fiddling with the controls and all that. You want all that to be done off screen. You don't want people to see that because it's just boring. And nobody's particularly interested in watching it. So, but you do want to explain your controls as briefly as possible once you get started. Okay? You also want to do any grinding off screen, anything that's just long, repetitive, and boring, you want to do off screen. So, like if you're doing like an RPG like Paper Mario, after a bit you're going to want to turn off your recordings when you're doing a battle. Okay? Also, once you actually get started, unless you script your videos beforehand, which isn't something I do, so, yeah, once you get started, you just go. Dead air is common when you're first starting out. Try to avoid it if possible, but, I know it slips in, so. Alright, yeah, that's all I can think of. Okay, actually signing off for real this time. Bye-bye.